Please give a big, warm NYU welcome to Chris and Kirk.
Thank you.
What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the process a little bit, and then we're going to talk about character, and then we're going to show you one sequence that's in the final film, but we're going to show you in 3 different stages so you can kind of see how it worked through. So just to give you an overlay of what it is. So this was the idea of what we were trying to do, is build this world from scratch, because this film, Croods, is the first DreamWorks. Well, first, it's the first DreamWorks family film that actually features a family, but also it's the first movie that's like completely from the imaginations of the artist. There's nothing, we had nothing to lean on. So, in building the world, it took a lot of our artists, years to figure out that tone and figure out what that world is. And that brings us to our Caveman Reimagined, or where the hell do we start? So we'll just briefly go through our little voice cast.
The most important relationship in this film, there's a triangular relationship between Grug, Eep, and Guy. And this was very unique. Like, we've worked on a lot of films where there's 2 main characters. You've got an antagonist and a protagonist, and villains, heroes, things like this. But this is a very different creature because there is no villain in the Croods. The villain is really just the idea of change. And so throughout the film, they're being chased by this catastrophe. So as long as these characters went through this emotional journey and changed, then we did our job. So the things they didn't matter so much as long as the emotional journey is going on. So we have this triangular relationship between Eep and Grug and Guy.
We were very lucky to get Nick to play Grug. He was our first choice. And the big thing for why we wanted Nick was that Grug is a character who is kind of a negative character. He's always saying no. He's he's stern. And the beauty of Nick's voice is that there's a beleaguered weight of the world on his shoulder quality in everything he says that you really can't not like the guy.
So it was really critical, I think more critical on this film than any other film I've ever worked on, that the voice cast be able to do some very difficult things and not lose the audience. So Eep is kind of negative for a lot of the time. We brought Emma Stone up as our first choice, but we thought that she had this quality to her voice that just sounded like it would fit this kind of a character, because our Eep is not, she's not a princess. She's a very different sort of character. Ryan Reynolds' character, Guy, you can imagine that when he started the movie, when he was initially written in, he was a bit of like a wacky inventor, because he's a more advanced human. And one of the things that really helped us to get out of that rut and stay out of it was Ryan Reynolds' voice, because he just doesn't have that sort of inventor, kind of kooky, nutty guy quality. He's very grounded, very warm, and he's a nice guy. That's the other thing, is all these characters, they're all nice to each other. They all like each other. They're doing their best to figure this whole thing out.
And, we always record the voices first, and then we animate second. Okay, so boarding.
One of the things that you will be talked to about when you first get to a CG studio as a director is the pipeline. They talk about their pipeline. This is a very big deal.
This is I'd say that's pretty, a little confusing, but.
That's the simpler level.
That's the simpler
of the pipeline. It's more like a sewer system. It's like the sewer system to a city. And basically it means that you can go really any direction, anywhere, at any time, and just go backwards and stuff like that. So it's a very complex creature nowadays.
And so here's like a layout, like an idea of how the team behind the Croods or any DreamWorks film would work and how many weeks on a sequence. So story would work on it for so long, then it goes to viz dev, then it goes to editorial, voice recordings, and it works its way through the process. And it takes about 30 weeks for a sequence to get all the way through production. And here is how it would break down. So when people go, why do the movies take so long? That's really the development, the pre-production. The production, as you see, is a year and a half, maybe 2 at most, right? And then with post-production.
Okay, so this is a sequence that was written and handed off to the story artists. This is the first time that the entire family meets Guy. He got knocked out. So we're going to open up from Guy's point of view. And this is exactly, if you guys were working at the studio, this is exactly how I'd pitch it to you guys if you're going to see it for the first time. So he's so different looking. Ooh, tiny jaw, tiny teeth. Oh, none of them are loose. Gran, get your fingers out of his mouth. Don't touch it, it's different. It's a boy. A boy what? Guy's point of view. He's waking up. Everybody, pretend you don't know me. Hi. Hi. Shoo! Ah! Go! Stop it, Dad. He's not just gonna... He runs off. Okay, let's get to that mountain, Croods. Nothing's stopping us now. So,
On behalf of the animation students at NYU, I thank Rick and Chris for this fantastic presentation. You agree?
thank you guys.